Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Trader Merlin Show. It is your Monday edition. We have a lot to talk about today, and usually I don't do a specific show on a market segment. I like to kind of spread it around and talk about a bunch of different things. However, given the influx of questions I received over the last 72 hours, a lot of questions regarding crypto and people panicking and kind of freaking out, and potentially, rightfully so, freaking out a little bit about what I called today the crypto crush. So let's kind of break this down one by one. And as we progress, I will try to incorporate in the viewer questions. There were, like I say, a ton of viewer questions. So it's kind of difficult to get to them all. But let's start with the big high-level stuff, which is the hack that happened in the hack that happened last week. So we talked about it briefly on Friday and what it might mean, kind of the impact for it. Essentially what you had was ByBit, I believe a Singapore exchange, got hacked and lost about $1.5 billion worth of Ethereum. Now, that's one component of it, right? And again, I've emphasized this many, many times, particularly for those of you who are in my crypto program. There's a thing called a seed phrase, and a seed phrase is essentially 24 words. So here's a little card that when you order your wallet device, oh, there it is. It's got 24 little lines on it, and when you turn it on, it will give you those 24 words, and that's called your seed phrase. So if you don't have the seed phrase or you don't have your private keys, then that crypto is not yours. Much like having your money in your bank, it's not yours. Now the good news is for money we have in a bank is we're happy with that. We know it's insured. We got FDIC protection, so you and I feel a little warm and fuzzy knowing that our money's safe, even if the bank gets robbed. With crypto, it's a bit different. So if anybody has your private keys, it's their crypto. And in this case, this exchange, ByBit, they have the private keys. So what happens in a situation like this is, especially on such a large level hack, like 1.4 billion is a pretty substantial amount. Not only does the exchange need to scramble to try to find and make up for those losses, right? Because what they don't want to do is they don't want to tell their customers, hey, you know what? You're screwed. You lost your money, because everybody will take their money out, and all of a sudden now they have to make it all work, and there's not enough crypto to go around to pay everybody. So it's like a bank run. In a crypto bank run, which is what happened. Hey, oh Mamarelli, you got it. I'll show you my seed phrase right now. Happy to just display it on screen for you to use and take my crypto. I hope you're doing well. When you look at what's going on with ByBit, they have actually gone out aggressively to try to get loans to make up for that 1.4 billion. Now, why is this important? Because if ByBit just says, oh, well, and tries to do it on their own, they'll get a run on the banks, lack of customer confidence, that exchange will implode, and then that would have a catastrophic impact on cryptocurrency. What you would see if ByBit actually did go under is, my guess is, you got Bitcoin right now, let's call it 94,000, a decent couple of down days here. My guess is if the ByBit went under, you would probably see a pretty quick fall in Bitcoin down to roughly 70, maybe even lower than that, just to absorb that initial shock of panic in the market. Because what it's telling people is, these exchanges aren't solvent. What they're doing is fractional reserve lending. They're taking deposits and they're lending those out just like your banks do. But banks are insured and controlled by the Fed. Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, Gemini, Huobi, KuCoin, all of these exchanges are doing fractional reserve lending, where they are lending out your crypto holdings without you knowing to other entities and earning some sort of yield on that. And that's a problem, because if they get too over leveraged out and there's an incident like this, it could cause that exchange to implode. So, is there a reason that we should be in panic mode here and think that this is the end and all of a sudden it's going to collapse? One of two things is going to happen. Either ByBit will shore up the problems that they have, meaning they'll get that $1.4 billion worth of ETH. So anybody who held ETH at ByBit, no harm, no foul, ByBit swallows that loss. Why? Well, first and foremost, they don't want their exchange to go under. If their exchange goes under, then their business is dead. So they want to salvage that. So if they shore up these shortfalls and get that 1.4 billion worth of ETH that's been lent by Galaxy and a couple other firms have actually lent them the money. Right now, there's been an audit on it, and it says that ByBit has all of the capital for all their customers. Their money is safe. That's also, be clear, this is also what I heard Terra Luna say back in, 2022? Let's go see if I think I might even have Luna on my charts here still. I thought I got rid of it. Let's bring up Luna. Let's go LUNA. You guys might remember this bad boy. Luna had a similar situation. It wasn't hacked, but let's go back and show you what happened with Luna. This is what happens to a crypto project that says they have all the company's assets and then they don't. It went from 80 all the way down to sub 1 penny. I think it actually went like half a cent, and now it's bounced up a little bit. So this is certainly a concern, and this wiped out over $60 billion worth of crypto value. Luna really should not have had an impact on something like Bitcoin. But if I look at the price of Bitcoin back at that same window of time, let's see, that was in May of 2022. Let's just go back into May of 2022, see what happened with Bitcoin. Even though this didn't hold Bitcoin from May of 2022, well, actually April, you saw a 61% slide in the price of Bitcoin. Maybe that was right around here is May. So from that hack down about 50, from the collapse of Terra Luna, about a 55% slide. So I'm not 100% comfortable yet saying that this has been averted. Certainly the way that ByBit is acting is way better than what Luna did. They're working with regulators. They're bringing in all sorts of Interpol and tracking this and being very open and transparent about it. So it's actually really a good thing. No. Yeah, exactly, Big Av. I'm not going to get my seed phrase. No way. Not going to get it. It does pay, Daniel. Here's the trade-off for anybody who's new to crypto. You keep your crypto on somebody like Coinbase, right? We'll use Coinbase because it's the biggest one in the US, so people can relate to. You keep your crypto on Coinbase, it's their crypto. It's Coinbase's crypto. They have your private keys. Now, the odds are, knock on wood, that Coinbase is not going to go under. Coinbase has a bunch of assets. They've got hundreds of millions of dollars worth of financial backing, big institutional partners, shareholders. I don't think that Coinbase would go under. At least the probability would be very, very slim. If they did, your crypto becomes part of their estates. So your risk factor, while there is risk at Coinbase, isn't very high. Now, if you go and get a hardware wallet, which I've shown you guys many times, here's a hardware wallet, which is where you can store your crypto and keep your private keys. If you keep your crypto on this and you keep your private key, you are now the risk manager. And now it's up to you. If you lose that private key, it's gone forever. All that crypto is gone forever. There's nothing you can do about it. So it's a trade-off. You can either have the convenience and comfort of something like Coinbase and all the services, but run the risk that you could lose your crypto. Whereas what I prefer to do, which is cold storage, where I keep it all myself, I also run the risk of losing all my crypto. So I got to be very disciplined about how I store my private keys and public keys. So there's the ByBit hack. Now, conveniently enough, once this panic spread where ByBit got hacked, over the weekend there was $5 billion worth of assets taken out of ByBit. It was a run on ByBit over the weekend. Now, the good news is it didn't drain all the funds. I think what I read was like 55% of the assets were withdrawn. That tells you people panicked. However, there's a large chunk of people that said, we'll keep ours there. Either they didn't know what they were doing, or they just felt comfortable keeping it there because they knew that ByBit would make it good. So this is the first piece of the FUD that's going on and causing the damage to crypto. Let's just bring up, let me bring up the total here, which shows you the market cap for crypto. And you can see, get over here. You can see that today, or at least the trend since December, has been looking real bad. And today was an ugly day. I think there was a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, where a lot of people just went, no, we want to get out of this. And I think some people are panicking a little bit, and I'll get to my thoughts on whether you should be panicking or what. But right now, it looks like a lot of pain coming into that crypto space. Market cap, just today alone, let's see how much we lost in market cap today in the last 24 hours. Only 146 billion. Not too bad. 4.66% slide in the total market cap of all crypto in the last 24 hours. Now, from the peak here, just so we can get a reference point, we're down 739 billion, or about 19% off the all-time high back there in December. So certainly is pain. Certainly people are concerned, and rightfully so. If this continues to drift lower here, it's just reflecting that people are getting out of crypto and maybe just had enough, which I totally understand. These hacks are just ridiculous. I mean, look at some of the numbers today. I'll show you some of the biggest losers here. They're giant. I mean, lots of double digits. So of the ones I hold, Solana, crime scene. I was really expecting it to hold this level between 162 and 155. We've broken it, which tells me we're probably coming all the way back down to that long sideways consolidation right around in here. which is about $124 for Solana. Now, this ties into the second piece here, kind of who's impacted by this crypto fear. Well, Solana isn't the main culprit here, right? Solana isn't part of this hack. However, Solana was a part of these rug pulls. Solana was part of the Trump coin, Melania coin, the Libra coin from down in Argentina, and several other projects. So what it's done is cast this really negative shadow on crypto, and specifically Solana, which has been the incubator for a lot of these cheap meme coins. Now, I've been saying since day one, and anybody who knows me knows that this is my belief, that most of that crap you should just stay away from. Leave it alone. Don't touch meme coins. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Don't give them anything. Don't give them 1 penny of your money, because you're just supporting scammers. So do your research. If it's a meme coin, leave it alone. Now, I think Solana will be fine in the long term. Notice a lot of those gains since the election. We're actually below the election numbers. And most cryptos, we're doing really great for a long time. And then now we're back below that, down 14% today. Another one that was down big today, LivePeer, that's one that I owe, down 12%. But this thing just looks like it's just absolutely falling apart. You have Chainlink, which are oracles, which I'm a big fan of, also looking just dire. Some of your major layer ones like Algorand, you've got Ripple also getting punished today. Pretty ugly day. For those of you who are thinking long haul, I do think that you're coming up on a buying opportunity. I don't know if this is it. I don't think that this is the buying opportunity yet. I do think you're actually going to see things getting a little bit lower here going forward as we get more kind of pain and suffering from this crypto kind of fallout that we've had. It's kind of terrible, but it is what it is. We've gone through this many times before, and we'll suffer it and weather that storm and come back on the other side of it. So let me see. I've got several comments that I want to get to, and let me read your questions first. It came through here. Merlin, you can get another key and get your crypto back if you have your seed phrase. Am I flat out wrong? So, like on this device, if this is a ledger I'm holding up here for those watching the podcast. So on this device, you can format it and get a new seed phrase. I'd be way too afraid to get a new seed phrase. What I would do is I would buy another device, which I have. I have 3 different ledgers over here. I would buy another ledger. If you wanted to move it, because you're worried this seed phrase is compromised, the way it works is let's say it's all on this drive over here on my right hand, I would buy the new device, and then I would send everything over to the new device, and then I would reformat my old device. I would never reformat with my crypto on it. I'm just too nervous about it. Now, in theory, all you'd have to do is input your old seed phrase and all your crypto would be there if there was an issue. But if you're looking for a new seed phrase, yes, you can format the drives and get a new seed phrase. Absolutely. By when there's blood in the streets. Yep, I agree, Margaret. Yeah, I do. But again, I do think you're going to get a little bit more pain here, right? People are kind of freaking out and it's escalating. We've got other pieces to discuss which may impact this as well. Daily pizza shares. Good question, Saba. I don't know when they actually close. That's a great question. I don't know. I'll have to find that one out for you, Saba. So this is from Infinitely Finite. He's I think he commented on the YouTube channel. He says, Grok told me that 3 to 4 times more Bitcoin has been lost due to individuals losing drives, passkeys, than how much has been lost to exchanges being hacked. Is it really that bad if I trust an exchange ETF more than I trust myself? No. And again, boils down to how comfortable you are with it. I like the fact that I'm in control of my crypto, right? So I'm not a, I don't know what you would call it, but there are people that just hate the government, don't trust the government, and want nothing to do with it. What, an anarchist? Or I'm not one of them. But I don't trust my government. I don't trust their ability to seize my assets, freeze my holdings, and I just don't trust my government from that respect. And of course, all the chaos going on right now, we can see some of the government overreach going on, in my opinion. So I like to have control of my seed phrase. So if my government says, hey, Merlin, we don't like you, we're freezing all your bank accounts, we're seizing your house and everything, they couldn't take what's on my hardware wallet. They wouldn't be able to get that. I like that sense of security and comfort. I have also taken great steps to protect that seed phrase. So infinitely, if you don't trust yourself, then yeah, keep it on an exchange. Just know you're always at risk. And in my opinion, if you are an American, you should keep your crypto, if you decide to keep it on an exchange and not do self-custody, I believe that you should keep it on an exchange in your local country. Most of you are in the United States. I saw Liz just came back from South Africa. If you're in South Africa, I would try to find a legit, reputable South African crypto exchange and keep my assets in that country, as opposed to go overseas where I might get better fees, better services, but that's a totally different risk there, is now geographical location risk, which I'm not a big fan of. I think that's too dangerous. Let's say for Bitcoin ETF within JP Morgan brokerage or an exchange. Well, look, the ETFs are probably going to do fine. What I think is puzzling me more right now than anything else is I question where all this Bitcoin is that people are accumulating. Whether it's Michael Saylor, whether it's BlackRock, whether it's Fidelity, they're buying all this Bitcoin apparently, but I'm not seeing the transactions. I mean, if you saw Michael Saylor bought another $2 billion worth of Bitcoin over the last 48 hours, and if you look here at the Bitcoin price chart, you're telling me you bought $2 billion of this thing and it barely moved, it didn't go up, it actually went down? I'm pretty sure this is just creative accounting. And I think that this is going to start to become much more prevalent going forward, is people are not actually buying Bitcoin. People are, again, like on Michael Saylor, they're going to Coinbase or whoever they buy it from, let's say BlackRock, and say, okay, I want to buy $50,000 or 50,000 Bitcoin. Give me $2 billion worth. They'll just simply say, ledger entry, you now have $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. But they haven't actually purchased any of it. And I think this is going to be the piece that ends up being the next big drop in crypto, unfortunately. And that, in my opinion, will probably start to happen tail end of this year. But we need another couple rallies still. So my friend Brandon said, do I still think we're going to get to 150 or 250? I do. It really boils down to corporate adoption, which I think is a massive piece for me, and building up more global demand. So I do think now with the regulatory changes from the the SEC, as well as the Fed, banks can now custody. So within a couple of months, banks will now be able to take crypto deposits, and they'll jump on that bandwagon very quickly because they can do fractional reserve lending on crypto as well. I do think that you'll see a strategic asset reserve. I'm not sure if it'll be a Bitcoin reserve. I think it should be just Bitcoin and Bitcoin only. But as Trump said, we're going to have a digital asset stockpile, which has not been defined yet. And I do believe that once that is announced, you will see particularly the ones that are in that stockpile start to move to the upside. Hopefully those are the more decentralized projects, not the centralized ones like Ripple. So I saw another question here. Let me make sure I get this one answered specifically. I think this is from Dr. Bonnie. I think it was Dr. Bonnie's. It was about Ripple, and basically with this giveaway. Let me read it directly here. So Bonnie says, I saw that Trump is having Lutnick sworn as Commerce Secretary, Patel sworn as FBI Director. When he was answering questions from the audience, someone asked him about crypto, and he has said that he is going to consider what he's going to incorporate crypto, possibly this afternoon. So do you think it's possible that he will start to use XRP or Lumen? I'm wondering if he may give out some sort of Doge refund in XRP just to stimulate the usage of crypto in our country. Any thoughts? So I don't think that he would be giving any crypto handouts to anybody. I don't think that's the case. What he will be doing, I think this is what he's going to do, is he will cave to lobbyists. Right now, the biggest lobbyist out there is Ripple. So I think what will happen is we'll get an announcement on strategic a digital asset stockpile, which is what he mentioned publicly. I think he even signed an executive order to create a digital asset stockpile. I'm going to verify that one. But it will probably include all the big names that you know. It'll have Ethereum, it'll have Bitcoin, it'll have XRP, and other big names. Will he be sending out Ripple? No, absolutely not. No way. I think you'd have way too much controversy politically that he's sending out digital assets as a payment system. So, yeah, I don't think that $5,000 check that Musk has proposed or a rebate, whatever, would come in the form of crypto. Not at all. No way. So, do I think that $5,000 per person would help? Absolutely. So when we look at the government giveaway side of things, if they gave out $5,000, last time we saw big move up in Bitcoin because so many people used it to buy Bitcoin. And I think that would happen again, I probably would buy Bitcoin with it too. If I got $5,000, I probably just buy $5,000 to Bitcoin and just done. My just invested it right away, and I'll hold on to it for years. And I talked to a bunch of my friends. They said the same thing. They didn't say Bitcoin, they said they'd buy crypto with it. So would it help crypto? I definitely think it would help cryptocurrencies a lot to have this government giveaway. I'm not, I'm still on the fence of is this a good thing or a bad thing. I still think it's more important to fix government. I think it's more important to get our budget back on track as opposed to, do a celebratory lap here by giving out, almost $1 billion or almost $1 trillion worth of funds to the people, which sounds great. I mean, everybody here, I'm sure, would be happy with a $5,000 check, but I think that comes at a cost. So, Chad says, with self-management, you need to know which cryptos are in your seed as you need to load respective wallets. Yes. So, I'll give you a quick, it's a complex one there that Chad just mentioned, but let me explain. So when you open up your ledger, and I'm not going to open up my ledger here, it's too public. I do for my crypto session, everyone sees my balances, but because this is a public, way too public, I'm not going to share those kind of numbers with everybody. So hopefully you can appreciate that. But when you open up a ledger, a nano ledger, these little storage devices, and you move your crypto onto them, you open up what's called the ledger app. I think it defaults to like Bitcoin and Ethereum is like the default on it. But what you'd have to do is remember which wallets you had on this. Because if you put your seed phrase in to these devices, the seed phrase opens up hundreds of different wallets. But you have to tell it which one. So on the back of my little ledger here, you can see I've got BTC, BTG, and LTC. So this little tiny one here has my Bitcoin Gold, and my Litecoin on it. I put a sticker on there to identify which one is which. This one has my Ethereum, my Ripple, my Tron, and some Solana on this one. So yes, if I was to format this and put in the seed phrase all from scratch, I would have to tell it, install the Ethereum wallet, install the XRP wallet. Just because you buy a ledger or a Trezor and you put in your seed phrase does not mean all your wallets show up automatically. You have to tell it which wallets to import. So just something to keep in mind. What happens to Bitcoin when Trump announces revaluation of gold to dollar at current market prices? Steve, I think that if we get an audit of the Fort Knox vaults and that gold is not there, I think Bitcoin's going to fly. I think Bitcoin's going to soar. The dollar is going to plummet. The dollar will get absolutely crushed if that gold is not there. I don't know if you saw it. There's a great meme going around that says the Fort Knox starter kit, and it's one of those red clay bricks and a can of gold spray paint. I thought that was pretty damn funny. But yeah, I think if Bitcoin, I think, would actually go up. It's absolutely defined and trackable, so everybody knows it's there. You know where it's at. This whole cloak and dagger thing with gold. I mean, like I say, ever since I was a kid, Fort Knox. We all hear Fort Knox. All this gold's there. 5,000, I think it's 5,000 tons. I have no idea. I don't have the slightest idea if it's there or not. So I think if that is not there, that, number one, weakens the credibility of the U.S. government. Number two, it weakens the value of the dollar because there's no assets there. There's no real backing by anything. There's this kind of subtle belief that we have gold there. Not backed by gold, but that gives us some economic power as having such a large stockpile of gold. If that's not there, oh man, brace yourselves, folks. We could see some crazy market action going forward. All right, I get a ton of comments here. If we have a correction crash, how much do you think it would affect Bitcoin? Depends on the severity of the crash. So, at a surface level, my gut would say that if the markets start to crash, money will flow from one market to the other, right? Excuse me. So that means as money pours out of the equity markets, as people panic, again, this is hypothetical, but if people start to panic and pull money out of the stock market, where is it going to go? Quite often it goes to commodities like gold, right? Or bonds. So they know they're going to get a consistent rate of return for a certain period of time. So that's typically where money flows. I think Bitcoin will be a benefactor here, or beneficiary here, unless the sell-off is severe. Like if it's a catastrophic equity market sell-off, people are now going to be liquidating some of their crypto to make ends meet, right? So at a certain point, you're going to have to tap into that to pay for things. Now, again, this is this is catastrophe thinking here, which I don't think we're going to get there. If you look at what happened to the S&P today, last night when the futures opened up, things were looking pretty good. We actually had a nice little gap up and then started to rally up and then just gave that all back here. Ending at a pretty ugly down day here for the S&P. Here's your NASDAQ as well, both of which have breached this trend line here, so that's not a good sign for our equity markets going forward. Let's see. I let politicians make decisions based on what goes into their wallet versus what's good. I know. And unfortunately, I think that's for most of them, it's just too tempting to take advantage of that power and all of a sudden have access to information and act on it way before others. I mean, all these politicians are rich. Crazy. What else? Tariffs were confirmed today. Yeah, we knew that was going to happen. Does he pull back on that? Maybe. It's, again, this chess game where you move your piece and then you can move your piece back. That will be just one catalyst going forward that's going to cause all sorts of uncertainty for the remainder of the year. Geraldo should accompany a film crew. Oh, that's good. I like that. Big Ab, you're showing your age there. You're referencing the opening of Al Capone's vaults. I remember that, man. That was such a family affair. We all sat on the couch there with popcorn and made a full-on night of that opening of Al Capone's vaults. And what a joke that was. It was basically a dump pile. It was excavating a bunch of dirt and like old soda cans and just trash. It was like his vault. It was his dump. Everything dipped today. What coin is the best suited to handle gold transactions on its blockchain? Well, Steve, there's a couple different considerations. If you're looking for, they can all handle gold transactions. Every blockchain could handle a gold transaction, right? Absolutely, 100%. Cardano, Avalanche, Solana, you name it. Every blockchain except Bitcoin could handle gold on its blockchain. The question becomes safety, decentralization, speed of the blockchain, and speed of transactions. Those are your variables. So with that said, I would think that something like SWI or Solana would probably be the go-to. At least Solana now, can do so many transactions per second. Unfortunately, it's now known as the Memecoin blockchain, which is unfortunate, and hopefully that'll go away. But Paper Gold US done. Paper Gold is done. So you have on the Ethereum blockchain, you have PaxG. So PaxG is apparently audited. They have an audit trail where it's a stable coin, and PaxG is 1 ounce of gold. So if you buy one of these tokens, you're buying 1 ounce of gold. As you can see here, you have $2,969 right now is the current price for PaxG. This is traded on the Ethereum blockchain. This plugs into Ethereum's blockchain. Let's see, what's the spot price of gold right now? Spot price of gold, $2,963. So PaxG is trading at a $6 premium. Now, for anyone in here who's ever worked with a coin dealer or a numismatist or a gold dealer, a $3 premium, $6 premium, nothing. Fine. Right, so when you start paying, $300-$400 premium, then it gets to be a bit much. So there used to be a silver one, but then it went belly up. I'm not sure why. But PaxG, I would say, is your go-to for gold tracking crypto. I think that people should create more commodity audited backed ones. If I had the capital, I would create a silver one and a platinum and a palladium, and it would be actually backed by real assets. So when someone bought, $3,000 worth of my gold stablecoin, I go buy a physical ounce of gold and store that in a warehouse. Now, I think the challenge here with these tokens is you can't just buy, 500 ounces of gold and just keep it, right? You need a place to store that safe and secure. It's not going to, keep it in your bedroom, although, a gold bar is 400 ounces. But let's say you've got, a couple 100,000 or 1 million ounces, you got to keep that somewhere safe and secure, and all that comes at a cost. So what you'll see most likely are some fees taken out of this. So over time, I would assume that this would start to lose some of its value compared to the actual spot price of gold. Let's see what else we got. So Steve, I would say you want to, at least as we go forward here, I think you want to focus more on the faster blockchains, and that would lead me to like a Sui and Aptos, a Solana. Even Cardano is now ramping up their scalability with Hydra and Midnight, which would really help them, get to the point where they're doing hundreds of thousands of transactions. Whereas Ethereum's a dog. Ethereum only does 15 transactions per second. It's got about 13-second block time. It's slow, and they just have taken way too long to get up to speed on it, unfortunately. I wish they would get better, but they're not. How do you stop yourself from going on tilt, or what's the best way you recover from major miss or win or loss? Are you talking about crypto? If you're talking crypto, I don't go all in. I have a lot invested in crypto, but I certainly have other assets spread around. And I don't think you should ever put all your eggs in one basket or one house, right? You want to spread things around so that you don't get caught off guard. And, there is the potential that there's a big crash coming in crypto. That will always be a looming potential out there. And, if you've got so much in crypto that would impact your life significantly, like, oh man, this changed the way I live, then you got too much in it, in my opinion. That's why I think it's important to spread around. So how do you get out of how do you recover from a major miss or loss? Well, number one is you got to go back and review what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. Obviously, if you had a huge loss, you should be able to look at that and figure out exactly what you did wrong. Now, you guys know I have a 10 laws that I use. I go with my 10 laws of trading. In that 10 laws, those are all results of bad trades. Everybody in here has had bad trades, whether it's crypto or stocks, futures, doesn't matter. You've all had bad trades. So when you have a really bad trade, stop and figure out what caused you to lose money in that. Did you trade too big? Did you violate your stop loss? Was it something you knew nothing about and you got caught off guard in a rug pull? Write these things down, and you'll start to see a common thread. And this goes for everyone here, no matter your level of experience. You probably have a common repetitive action to your big losses. I know I did. I know I certainly did. And that's why I made my 10 laws, because it's now those are the things that cost me the most money. So how do you get over it, Chris? Is you first understand what you did wrong to incur such a big loss. Then you ask yourself, can I fix that next time? Can I prevent this from happening next time by making smarter choices? Maybe I don't buy the meme coins, or maybe I adhere to my stop loss. Once you have that in place, then you start back up real slow. You don't start off swinging for the fences trying to make up for that big loss, because you'll just lose even more. It's about slowly progressing and getting better, improving step by step, and then ultimately getting to the point where you're comfortable to get back onto your normal track. Would you have to insure that much gold at the bank? I'm sure, Saba, it would probably be good. Probably would be good to have it insured. It would give the customers confidence as well. Certainly with PAX G, it's audited, so that should make the consumer feel comfortable as well. But I'm not a very trusting person. The longer I'm in the financial markets, the less trusting I am. That's why I like to have self-custody, because I trust myself. The more I see of institutional fraud and these rug pulls and just politicians and just greed, my trust is not that good. So I'd rather take physical possession of something and store it in a way that I see fit versus have somebody hold it for me. Damiani says, ByBit to hedge, good idea. I mean, sure. You could use, or BT, B-I-T-I. No. So I don't think you should use BT. And the reason you don't use BT is because these are leveraged. They're inverse. So you could just short ByBit. Your fees will be better. Just short ByBit if you believe the crypto is going to go down. Right? That would be the better way. Cheaper fees, and with these ETFs like BITI, because they're leveraged, there will be this slow decay over time. Even if Bitcoin, let's say if you go forward 1 year and Bitcoin's the exact same price, but you were long BITI for a year, you'd be negative. Even though Bitcoin's the exact same price, you would still be negative because of decay from calculations, from the backwardation contango, the futures products, as well as just the fees imposed. All right. Always have a crash coming in every asset to some degree. Yep, absolutely, Big Eb. And I think the more we realize that, the better off you're going to be, because you'll always be on somewhat of a defensive, right? I think that's kind of what I've been my approach is, I think the crash is coming, but I've been saying that for a long time, and I've caught 2 of them, and just those little blips down have done very well for me. Otherwise, I got to be long. I have to stay long because that's what the markets are giving me, even though I believe we're going to crash. Bought SPY puts today. Ooh, Big Eb's going for it, huh? I actually bought puts on CrowdStrike a couple days ago, about a week ago, and I closed that out today. That was a great sell-off on CrowdStrike. Man, big one. Yeah, Chad, I should probably just do that show again, the 10 loss show. I thought that was a good one. Let's see. So let me go to some other listener questions here. This is a question came in from Alan. Again, this is predominantly crypto today. So Alan says, I transferred most of my crypto to cold storage. Most of it went over fine. However, the ADA USD would transfer all but a small amount, 0.08, which is worth about 6 cents today, which is worth nothing. But why couldn't it just be part of the transfer? Well, what may have happened is it may have kept aside a small amount for your transaction cost, because you can't send everything. If you send everything, you have nothing for transactions. So what probably happened is as you were sending it, it gave an estimate on transaction costs and it held that back. But when you actually made the trade, transaction costs had dropped a little bit, and that's dust. They call this dust, right? Dust is, the pennies here and there. I've got them all over the place. But that's most likely what happened there, Alan, is it was dust. It's just, it needed it for the transaction. And as time went by the time you hit submit, price for that transaction had dropped, and therefore it had reserved too much. Let's see. Naum, great questions. Naum says, how do these crypto clearing houses or exchanges survive if everyone takes their coins and transfer them to a hard wallet? Well, they'll never get everyone. There'll always be some degree of people who keep it on the exchange, right? They just don't want to take that risk, or just don't know any better. I think for the novice, exchanges are it. You just use exchanges, right? You just don't know what you don't know, because when you're new, you're like, oh, Bitcoin's great, Ethereum, okay, cool, I'll just buy some. As you dive deeper into it, you realize the importance of online storage, hot wallets, cold wallets, self-custody, and for some people like myself and others here, that's really important, is to have that self-custody aspect. So the vast majority of people will keep their money on the exchange. It's just not worth it, especially if they're active traders. If they're active, you don't want to use self-custody, right? Self-custody is designed for the buy and hold investor who wants to just set it aside and just keep it there for a while. So if everyone pulled their money off the exchange now, you know what happens. Exchange is done. It's toast, all right? Absolute toast. Michael Saylor, Noam says, where does he keep his crypto? Don't know. There was a document that I read that said he keeps some of it at Fidelity and he keeps some at Coinbase, so he's keeping it at other brokerage firms, but he has also said that when I die, I'll die with my keys. You guys can look up that quote. When I die, I will die with my private keys. That implies that he has a cold wallet somewhere, but there are no cold wallets that have anywhere near the amount of crypto that Michael Saylor says he has, which has me, every time I think about it, I get more and more skeptical that he actually is buying. Now, the SEC, in all reality, should be looking at these transactions to make sure that they're legit. So they got to be legit somewhere. But with the transparency of blockchain, particularly Bitcoin, which is what he's buying, we should see every transaction he makes, and I'm seeing literally zero. None of them. I haven't seen any transactions. I would love to see if he said, here's the transaction I made today, here's the address, and then we could watch it go to whatever wallet. That's what I want from Saylor. That's also what I want from the government. When we get the Cynthia Lummis Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Bill passed, her proposal is it will be a wallet address that everybody can see and everybody can track. That's what we need to do. We need to have that set up, and then we can all look at it and go, yep, that's the government wallet. We can see when it moves, if it goes up and down. You'll know what they're doing with their money. So now I don't know where he keeps his crypto. I'm told it's Coinbase. I'm told it's, Fidelity and maybe a couple other big exchanges, but I'll be honest, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Let's see what other questions I have there. There's that one, and I got through all the questions that you guys had sent in already. Yep. All right, so I got all that in. Ultimately, what does this boil down to? Well, in my opinion, I think it gets real close to questioning, does this push us into somewhat of a bear market here for crypto? Yeah, I noticed I did a speed test earlier, Lisa, and my speed test actually was fine. Not super fast, but I noticed it's been slow today. I'm not exactly sure why that is. I'll tell you right now. I should be okay. I shouldn't have any stream issues here today. going a little bit bearish here. And overall, when we look at the bigger picture, let's go look at Bitcoin, for example. I'm not concerned yet. Obviously, this last 2 weeks have been horrible. That's actually worse when you look at the spot market. It's longer. Look, we've just been sitting there going sideways and sideways. This is what concerns me. Notice the red candle today, we've come smack down into this lower end of this yellow box. That concerns me. If this continues to drift lower, then I do think we could end up down in the 70s, which I don't want. I've got a little too much on the line here, not just with my Bitcoin exposure, but also with I have MicroStrategy and I have ByBit as well. And now I'm actually back in SMCI, which we'll see what happens there. That one's crazy. Let me see. I know they were coming out today with their report after hours. Yeah. So, MicroStrategy has been not looking great either. It's been just slowly drifting lower and lower and lower. So this is a little bit concerning. We're down another 1.8% in after hours. Not good. Even with Michael Saylor buying billions and billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, I question if he's really buying, because if he bought that much, this thing would be bouncing back up to the upside here. So what's it going to take to get this all back on track? It's going to take people getting comfortable and understanding that this ByBit thing is okay, that those investors were made whole, and then we need some action from the government that says, yes, we're going to have a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Did I sell my TTD puts? No. I do I own TTD? I think I sold calls against it today. Yeah, I sold calls against that one. Let me make sure. Because I was exercised. That's why. So I had sold puts. I was exercised on those puts on TTD trade desk, and that was at 80. So I still sold calls against that today. An ugly, ugly day. Yowzers. Yeah. So I'm long TTD, and I sold the calls today against that one. There you go. About to buy SMCI. Okay, be careful here. If you are going to go into SMCI, you want to check the option chain. The option chain has been absolutely phenomenal, premium-wise. So I sold today the $40 strikes, which is a little closer than I wanted to go. Let me go here and give you the coordinates. I'll explain why it shows the 40. It's because you're kind of this area of consolidation, this little kind of rally-based rally that goes back to February 11th. So I'm right in the center of that. That's my target. And by the way, this is for this Friday. I collected $1.12, I believe. It would have to fall from current levels. It'd have to fall another 22% to get down there by Friday. So I took a chance on that one. A decent sized position. We'll see. I mean, the premium is just way too good. Way too good. 2.5% for 5 days. I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that for sure. What federal insurance on these brokers? Margaret, you're asking about crypto brokers? None. No insurance on any of these crypto brokers. No federal insurance on deposits. And again, we haven't had the clarity from the SEC to define what's a security and what's not. If we start labeling this, let's say Ethereum, for example. If they say Ethereum is a security, then Ethereum should be offered the SIPC protection. Should. Will it get it? I don't know. We'll see. I have this app on my phone and just send me alerts right now. Man, Ethereum is getting just absolutely slaughtered. Down to 2,500. It was up at 29 just a little bit ago. Let's look at Ethereum here. And Ethereum, by the way, because this was all done on Ethereum, it's the Ethereum hack, there's a lot of concern that they may roll back the blockchain. So this is something that is a pretty advanced topic. But if the community votes, if everybody in the Ethereum community votes, they can actually pick a day. Let's say that hack happened back here. They can go back and they can erase every transaction that's happened from any point. But the community, everybody has to agree. And if a majority says, let's roll back the blockchain to this block, really going back in history, you'll get a lot of contentious stuff. I think it's actually damaging for Ethereum. Yeah, that's a pretty bad red candle there. It's a pretty bad red candle. Just this morning alone, we were at 2,844, and we hit a low price today of 2,542. So a $300 swing there, which is obviously over 10%. It's a pretty volatile move for ETH. And looking at this chart, I don't see any reason this thing's going to slow down. You'll probably find yourself down around the 2,400 mark here soon. It's bad, and this was done on the Ethereum blockchain, and now they're trying to hide all this money from this ByBit hack. So Ethereum continues to kind of be the laughing stock here as it happened on Ethereum. Let's see, all the big seven moving lower except for Apple. Yeah, let's run into that. So bottom line is pain about in crypto, and until something dramatic happens, I do think you'll see this continue to move lower. Tesla has been the ugly one here. You mentioned most of the big seven moving lower. Tesla certainly falling out of favor. I think that the Elon Musk actions are creating a lot of Musk haters in the industry, so this may be impacting Tesla as well. But right now, it looks like you're due for a bounce here, but I wouldn't catch this falling knife yet. I'd wait for Tesla to fall a bit more before I started to buy into it. Nvidia down 3%. Look, we closed that gap, hit it, and then been selling off aggressively ever since. We'll see what it looks like over the next couple of days. I, for one, would be okay selling some puts. For a few months, I was doing the 108s. I might go back and look at that 108 section again. And main reason I'm looking at the 108 is because of this area of consolidation, this drop-based rally from back in September. Now, do I go for the 117s? Possibly. We'll have to see if the premium is good enough. I want to make sure that I got to do a little bit of damage control on my MicroStrategy and IBIT positions, but we'll see. I think I'll be okay there to get the next pop here. We'll see. Will the stolen crypto be found or returned? So what ByBit has done is they put a bounty of 10% for the return of it. So basically saying, we're not going to do anything to you if you just give us it back. That usually doesn't work. They know the address is where it's gone to. So the question is, how can they obfuscate it? How can they hide that? They can use things called mixers, right? You can move it over into, they could take your Ethereum quickly and buy Monero. Like if I was to hack and steal Ethereum or Bitcoin or anything, I would take it immediately and I would go to a swap site and I would swap that, whatever it was stolen, and put it into Monero. And then I'm good. Now the question is, when I pull that money out in Monero, will people see it? They won't see the address, but it's just kind of a large withdrawal. So I would use privacy coins, which is probably what's going to happen, or mixer services. So the answer there, Margaret, is no. They're not going to get that back. It's just not going to happen. Unfortunately. Now, do they bust the guys? So this is the Lazarus Group, which apparently is a North Korea hacker organization. At least that's it seems like anytime there's a hack, it's either Russia or North Korea, right? It's always our villains. So not our villains, but always the villain that did it. It's probably some kid in Chicago. So I have a couple strikes, Lisa. I have 352. I mean, I gotta look at it. I think I actually wrote it on the chart here on MicroStrategy. One sec. Yeah, so I have a couple I did at 352.50, and then I have the 320s. So right now they're underwater. I'm not too concerned. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. I may dump them and take a loss on them, but we'll get there. There's the 320s right here. Yeah, the last couple of days have been rough. Certainly rough. But all in all, I'll be fine. Ultimately, I'll be fine. I mean, you guys know what happens, especially with crypto, is it'll have a big down, and then all of a sudden slowly creep its way back up, and I'll be back there. Owen says, great for us buyers. Absolutely. Yep. I think it's a great time for buyers. I might wait. Like let's say you had $1,000 and you're like, I want to buy some Bitcoin. And, I might buy a little bit here, wait a few days, maybe it gets a little lower, because the trend clearly is showing that crypto is got weakness, right? There's no denying that. And Bitcoin breaking this level right at this bottom, this may be that first buy point for you, but if we break that, look out. I think you got much more downside movement here. All right, top 7. How much time do I got? Man, I was not going to do a long show, but here we are again. Bottom of the barrel was not Bitcoin futures. Bottom of the barrel is NASDAQ. The second huge down day in a row. Now, if you look at our 4-day slide we've had here for the NASDAQ, going from its, 5-day, really, from its peak to where we are right now, you're looking at 4.09% slide. It is still trending up. Don't let this pain fool you. This is still an uptrend. Once we get below this low point from January 13th, that to me is your new pivot swing low. Once that happens, then I think we're in trouble. Okay, so at this point, it's not looking as strong because it broke the trend line up to the upside here, but still looking pretty good. It was down 1.19% today. There's your Bitcoin price chart. Now this is on the futures, which is slightly different. Still does not look that great. Yeah, I saw that. Yep, saw that, Lisa. That was that you said that's happened just now. That was 7 minus 4 is 14, so 2 o'clock. Yeah, well, they said they bought a couple $1 billion worth over the past 72 hours. Here's your 10-year. Keep riding this one. We've drawn this out for a reason, right? We had this nice little area of demand that goes all the way back into December 17th on that 10-year. This is great news for the housing market. This is great news for anybody who wants to refi. This is great news for business that are looking to borrow capital, right? Lower yields, better for growth. The trend right now looks down, even though I mentioned I am bullish. I'm bullish. I do think that you're going to see yields go up. Right now, I cannot ignore this downward trend here. So right now, you're sitting at 4.4%. You're riding that area of demand right here. So this could be that bounce point. We'll have to wait and see. And I think it's got to break this downtrending line I have drawn on your screen. Russell 2000 down 0.68% on the day. Where is it? Oh, lo and behold. Oops, 1 second. We are right in that same area we've hit multiple times. We talked about this on Friday's show that it kind of dipped into that zone. We actually breached it, but it didn't close outside that bottom zone here. So I would still say this level should hold between 2207 and 2182. But after that, where are we going? Going right down into here. I'm going to come down to these lows back here from September. That's your next stop for the Russell should we break that, which could easily happen. It feels like that rollover is happening and more pain's coming to the market. Now, S&P looks very similar to the NASDAQ. My expectation was it was going to sell off, come back down the trend line, and then work its way up and make a new all-time high. Not doing that yet, right? And again, I'd argue this is going to be the same thing as that NASDAQ. It's got to break this low from back here on the 13th of January. Once that happens, then we're singing a different tune. Then it's, okay, we're going the opposite direction. Podium time, you had your dollar index today, which is a slight rebound, but remember, it broke through that area of demand and closed below it, so it's going to retest here and most likely do what that little arrow shows here, which is move lower on that dollar index. Second place was gold, which made another all-time intraday closing high, 2,963 or 0.34, and crude oil was your most victorious asset today, up 0.43%. Didn't quite get down in that yellow box we'd drawn out there. That was that area of demand I was looking at, but yeah, nice aggressive sell-off. I still am in the camp of overall longer term, going over the course of the remainder of the year, I think we're going lower for crude oil. But right now, you're getting towards that demand zone, which could represent a bounce point. Let's see. Elon is great at coming up with big dreams, finding the right people to make them come true, and putting them in the best position. Yeah. Well, he also, you look at his companies, and he goes into his companies, and I've heard from many people, or many interviews, that he's a real jerk to work for, because he demands you work. You either work or you get out. No, I'm not saying that what he's doing is right, because I know we have some people that think what Musk is doing at this whole Doge thing is wrong, but I think you'd all agree that if your taxpayers are paying people to do a job, and they can't respond with a simple, here's what I did last week, they're probably not working. And their stats are showing that none of these, like a vast majority of people aren't even showing up for work. They're just sitting at home, dilly-dallying, working remotely, not doing anything. I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that. I mean, I work hard for my money. You guys work hard for your money. I think our government employees should be no different. There should be no preferential treatment. There should be no exemption. If you want to work, then go to the office and work, and you should be able to tell the boss what you're doing. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm a little bit rough. But yeah, I think you got a lot of freeloaders in government. It's statistically been shown over the years that there's a lot of freeloaders that don't carry their weight. They're locked. It's like union jobs, right? I told you guys I worked for a union. I hated it. I'm a hard worker. I'll go in there and I bust my tuchus to work hard every night. And a lot of my coworkers, they would milk it. They would just sit there and be like, I don't have to work because they can't fire me. I think if people have the threat of being fired, it might light a fire underneath their tuchus and they get some work done. So I actually like what Musk is doing. I think we should have a little bit more oversight of what's being slashed, right? As opposed to just slashing everything. Although I will argue, if we do go and cut way too much, we can always hire people back and fill positions more appropriately. But who knows? I think it just creates more market uncertainty, which is crazy. August says accountability. I like accountability. I like the fact that if you have a job, you should be able to come to me and say, this is what I did today, here's what I'm doing, and this is how I'm going to get it done. Every one of our jobs should be, Todd's my boss. Todd comes to me, I can tell them immediately, here's what I did last week, here's what I did today, here's what I'm working on for tomorrow, and here's what I'm working on for the next 6 months. Boom, we're clear. I don't have to talk to Todd for a while. Let's get this stuff done. I believe Congress should also follow the working rules. Lori, calm down. We don't expect miracles here, okay? I don't expect our congressman to work that hard. Come on. Let's see. Yes, at a minimum, be efficient at your government job. Correct. That's not how you treat people, ever. There are human resource channels that manage that, and they're not discerning who they fire. In any case, they might be firing good people. And that's, again, why I think there should be a little bit more oversight here. I would hire George Costanza because I just like George. At least George tells me he's not working. All right, I got to wrap up here. I did not expect to do an hour show. Economic announcements and earnings. There's really nothing on the economic front for mañana. I don't remember. I don't think so. Where's my calendar? My calendar's gone. Oh, that's right. Forex Factory was down today. I don't know if you guys saw that. They were out of service. Forex Factory literally crashed today. I was like, wow, you guys got to fix your servers. So let's go to Tuesday. We had nothing on the calendar for today for the U.S., but tomorrow you got S&P Case-Shiller Composite 20 Home Price Index. This, of course, is the 20 major metropolitan areas. Are we seeing home prices increase? As you can see here on this chart, they've actually been declining for about the past 8-9 months. So not declining, but not growing as rapidly. We're still growing about 4.3%. They expect to come out at 4.4%. So we'll see how that works. You have a couple of FOMC members with Barr and Barkin speaking tomorrow, as well as the Richmond Manufacturing Index and Consumer Confidence. That's pretty much it. The big earnings announcement, as you guys all know, will be happening on Wednesday night after market close. That's NVIDIA. Yep, Chris just posted in their chat. The NVIDIA one will be fun to watch. Always exciting. For tomorrow, here's your earnings calendar. You've got Home Depot, Workday. You've got Intuit. What are the big ones? Bank of Montreal, the Bank of Nova Scotia. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. No, all this other stuff is relatively small. First Solar. I haven't talked about First Solar. FSLR. Are they even around still? FSLR. I haven't looked at First Solar in forever. Wow. Not looking so good. First Solar was back over right around $300 in June of last year, and now it's trading at $152. So 50% cut there for. When you get lice, you scratch your head. It's not just the infected spots. Innocent hairs out there. I thought you were saying that because I was scratching my my head here, Steve. I thought you were saying I had lice. I don't have lice, man. But no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's hard to pick out all just the little pieces. You're gonna get some collateral damage along the way. But I don't know. I'd rather see some aggressive actions to clean up our government than let it continue to go the way it was. Because if it's ever in question that the government wastes money, just pull up the usdebtclock.com and I'll bring it home on how bad of a situation we're in. And I really do agree with Elon Musk that if we keep doing what we're doing, we're bankrupt. We will absolutely go bankrupt. There's not a model alive that can get us out from what we're doing if we don't change it. It's just going to keep going down and down. Why does the mayor of Los Angeles? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I don't follow the mayor of Los Angeles. Okay, that's going to do it for me, everybody. Crypto meltdown. Crypto is a reason to panic. I don't know. I do think that there's still some weakness. These types of events, especially what happened with ByBit, if ByBit handles this correctly, it could actually be a good thing for crypto. But I think there's still shock factor right now, and people are freaking out a little bit and want to take their money off the table. So just got to be a little careful there. I do think that it will get better over time, but I do anticipate maybe this week we got more weakness coming just because of just fear. Unless Michael Saylor actually goes on the open market and buys Bitcoin, we'll probably see it continue to drift lower. So that's it for me, everybody. Thank you so much. If you want me to discuss something on tomorrow's show, email me. TraderMerlin@gmail.com for Naum and Infinitely Finite and Jeff and Alan. Thank you guys for the questions. Keep them coming, and I'll dive into whatever topics you want to discuss tomorrow. Take care, everybody.